The woman in the gray coat found me beside the ice machine, trying to pry 2 quarters out of a frozen vending slot with a motel key. My hair smelled like gasoline because I had slept in my Honda again, and my phone screen was lit with my father's latest message. "Come home. Admit what you did, and I'll stop warning people." The woman looked at the text, then at me, and said, "Your grandmother knew they would do this." Then she opened her purse and showed me a folded document with my grandmother's signature in blue ink. My name is Marissa Langley. I'm 33 years old. And before that night, I thought the worst thing my parents had done was ruin my name. I didn't know they had stolen the only proof that could save it. 7 months earlier, I had been standing in the back office of a children's dental clinic in Portland, holding a cardboard box of my own things, while my manager refused to look me in the eye. There was a framed poster on the wall with cartoon dinosaurs brushing their teeth. A mug of peppermint tea sat untouched on her desk. My employee badge was already inside a clear plastic envelope, like it had died before I got there. "Marissa," she said quietly, "we received a call." I remember the way my stomach dropped before she even finished, because by then I already knew what kind of call. "From who?" She pressed her lips together. "Your father." My father, Grant Langley, had a voice people trusted, calm, polished. The voice of a man who carried jumper cables and always shook hands with both hands. He could tell a stranger I had stolen money from my own family business, and they would hear sorrow instead of poison. "He said there was an unresolved theft issue," my manager continued. "He said you were under family investigation, that you were unstable." I laughed once, not because it was funny, but because my body didn't know what else to do. "I've worked here 3 weeks, I said. "I handle appointment reminders and insurance forms. I don't even touch cash." "I know," she whispered. But knowing didn't save me. That was the lesson my family taught me over and over. Truth mattered less than who said it first. The first job I lost was at a bakery. The second was at a pediatric office. The third was remote customer support, gone after 1 week because my mother emailed HR from her church account and said she was morally obligated to warn them. By the 4th time, I stopped using my real address. By the 5th, I stopped answering unknown numbers. By the 6th, I slept in my car behind a closed laundromat because I had spent my last motel money on gas and a prepaid phone card. And every few days, my father sent some version of the same message. "Come home. Confess. We can fix this." What he meant was, "Come back where we can control the story." The accusation started after my grandmother, Evelyn Price, had a stroke. Grandma Evelyn was my mother's mother, and she had never been an easy woman, but she had always been fair. She kept cash envelopes in a flour tin, wrote notes on the backs of grocery receipts, and remembered every birthday without needing Facebook to remind her. When she got sick, I became useful. That was my family's favorite version of me. My older sister, Brooke Langley, cried in hospital rooms and posted pictures of Grandma's hand in hers, with captions like, "Cherish every moment." My mother, Denise, told nurses she was barely holding the family together. My father stood in hallways making serious phone calls. I was the one changing bed sheets at midnight. I was the one driving Grandma to neurology appointments. I was the one measuring pills into a plastic organizer while Brooke complained that the smell of the medication gave her a headache. And when Grandma recovered enough to talk clearly again, she asked me to help her sort through her bills. Not my mother, not Brooke, me. That was when everything changed. Grandma had noticed money missing from her checking account. Small amounts at first, $48.73, then larger charges from places she had never been. A spa in Lake Oswego, a boutique hotel, a jewelry store downtown. I printed the statements at her kitchen table while she sat wrapped in a yellow cardigan, tapping one thin finger against the wood. "Don't tell your mother yet," she said. I looked up. "Grandma." Her eyes were tired but sharp. "Especially not your mother." 2. Weeks later, my parents accused me of stealing from her, not privately, at Sunday dinner. Brooke had made lasagna she didn't cook, still in the foil tray from the deli, and my father waited until everyone had a plate before he placed a folder beside mine. Bank statements, highlighted charges, my name written in black marker on the tab. My mother started crying before anyone even spoke. "Just tell us why," she said, like she had rehearsed it in the mirror. "After everything we've done for you." I looked around the table. My aunt, 2 cousins, Brooke's fiancé, everyone frozen with forks in their hands. "These aren't mine," I said. Brooke stared at her plate. My father leaned back, calm as a judge. "Then why did your grandmother say you were the only one with access?" "She didn't." "She's confused," my mother snapped. "You took advantage of a sick old woman." That sentence split something in me, not because it was loud, because it was ready. They had prepared the room before I walked into it. They had chosen witnesses. They had chosen dinner. They had chosen my chair, the one nearest the folder like a defendant's seat. And then my father said, "You can make this right tonight." What does that mean? It means you sign a repayment agreement, you apologize, and we keep this inside the family. Inside the family. That was where they buried everything. I stared at the repayment agreement like it was written in another language. Amount owed, $18,640. My hands went cold. "That's not even the total from those statements," I said. My father didn't blink. "It includes emotional distress." Brooke made a small sound like she was trying not to cry. I looked at her then, really looked. Her lashes were wet, but her face wasn't sad. It was afraid. "You know," I said to her. Her fork clattered against her plate. My mother stood so fast her chair scraped the floor. "Do not bully your sister because you got caught." Grandma wasn't there that night. That was the first thing I should have understood. They had waited until she was back in rehab for another round of therapy, exhausted and medicated, and then staged my trial without the only person who knew the truth. I pushed the agreement away. "I'm not signing this." My father's expression changed for half a second. The soft, wounded mask slipped, and underneath was something flat. "Then you leave us no choice." I left that dinner with my purse, my keys, and my name already on fire. By Monday morning, my mother had called my landlord. By Tuesday, my aunt had posted a vague prayer request online about addiction, theft, and betrayal. By Friday, my cousin sent me a screenshot from a family group chat I had been removed from. "Dad, we are heartbroken. Please do not lend Marissa money. It enables her. Mom, she may claim innocence. That is part of the sickness. Brooke, I just hope she gets help. That one hurt the most. Not because Brooke lied, because she lied weakly, like she wished someone else had done it for her. I tried to see Grandma. The rehab center receptionist smiled until she typed my name. "I'm sorry," she said. "You're not on the approved visitor list." "I was here every day for 6 weeks. I understand. Can you tell her I came?" Her smile disappeared. "Mrs. Price's family requested no outside disturbances." Outside. That was how fast I became outside. Then came the jobs. My father did not threaten. He informed. That made him dangerous. He would call and say, "I'm Grant Langley, Marissa's father. I'm sorry to involve you, but there is a serious matter regarding financial misconduct. We don't want your organization exposed." My mother preferred emails. She used phrases like, "with a heavy heart," and "documented pattern." She attached a photo of me from 5 years earlier at a cousin's wedding, cropped badly, as if employers needed help identifying the criminal. At first I fought. I sent statements, references, screenshots showing I wasn't even in the same city when some charges happened. One manager believed me and apologized while firing me anyway. "We can't risk drama," she said. Drama. Not slander, not harassment. Drama. I filed a police report. The officer listened, typed slowly, and asked if I had proof the money wasn't taken by me. "I have proof I didn't make the purchases." "That's not the same thing." "I," said Grandma knew. He asked if Grandma would make a statement. I said I couldn't reach her. He gave me a card for legal aid. Legal aid had a 9-week wait. By then, my lease was gone. My landlord said the calls were concerning. He gave me 30 days, then kept my deposit for carpet damage that didn't exist. I sold my couch, my bookshelves, my winter coat. I kept 3 bags: clothes, documents, and the blue ceramic bowl Grandma gave me when I got my first apartment. The bowl broke the first night I slept in the car. It slid off the passenger seat when I braked near a gas station. I sat in the parking lot holding 2 cracked pieces in my lap, and I cried harder over that bowl than I had over losing my apartment. Because the bowl had proof of a different life, one where somebody trusted me. Months passed in pieces: truck stop bathrooms, library Wi-Fi, granola bars for dinner, shampoo stolen from motel cleaning carts, then returned because guilt still lived in me even after everyone acted like it shouldn't. I changed my voicemail to a man's voice I found in an app so my parents couldn't prove which number was mine. It didn't matter. My father always found me. Sometimes he texted from new numbers. "I know you're tired. This ends when you tell the truth. Your grandmother is declining. Don't make her die with this pain. That last one nearly sent me back." I drove 3 hours toward my parents' house before pulling over at a rest area and vomiting beside a trash can. Then I remembered Grandma's finger tapping the kitchen table, especially not your mother. So I turned around. The night the woman found me, I had $14.22, half a tank of gas, and a fever. Rain silvered the motel parking lot. I had paid for 1 shower, not a room, and the clerk told me not to sleep on the property. I was near the ice machine when the woman appeared. Gray coat, short black hair, no umbrella. Marissa Langley? Every survival instinct in me screamed, "If Grant sent you, tell him I'm dead." "He didn't," she said. She reached into her purse slowly and removed a sealed envelope. Across the front, in shaky blue ink, was my grandmother's handwriting. For Marissa only. My knees almost gave out. The woman said, "My name is Vivian Cross. Your grandmother hired me before her second stroke." I couldn't speak. Vivian held out a small metal case. She said if your parents got to you first, I was to find you and give you this. "What is it?" "Receipts," she said. "Recordings, copies of account access logs." Rain ran down her sleeve as she stepped closer, and a letter explaining who really stole from Evelyn Price. Vivian bought me coffee from the motel lobby even though the clerk kept watching us like I was about to steal the sugar packets. I couldn't open the metal case right away. It sat between us on a cracked plastic table, small enough to fit under a car seat, heavy enough that I knew it had carried the last 7 months better than I had. "Is she alive?" I asked. Vivian's face softened. "Yes, but she cannot speak clearly now. The second stroke affected language. Your mother controls most access." Most. That word mattered. I touched the envelope with Grandma's handwriting. "When did she hire you?" 3 days after you printed those bank statements." My breath caught. Vivian slid a key across the table. "She was afraid her house wasn't safe. She asked me to make duplicates of everything and keep them off site." I laughed, then covered my mouth because it came out broken. "She knew?" "She knew enough to be afraid." The key opened the case. Inside were labeled folders, a flash drive, 2 burner phones, and a stack of receipts held together with rubber bands. Grandma's labels were shaky but unmistakable. Brooke card use, Denise online logins, Grant calls, Marissa, proof. I picked up the last folder first. Inside was a calendar. Grandma had written where I was on every date they accused me of making purchases. Doctor appointment, pharmacy, neurology, grocery with M. Beside one boutique hotel charge, she had written, "M was asleep on my couch." I heard her snoring. I started crying silently. Vivian didn't interrupt. The flash drive had recordings. The first was from Grandma's kitchen, her voice thin but sharp. Denise said, "Mom, you're confused. Marissa is the only one who helps with the accounts." Grandma replied, "Marissa helps because you won't." Then my father's voice, "Evelyn, if you accuse Brooke, you will destroy this family." Grandma, "No, Brooke using my card destroyed it." A chair scraped. My mother hissed, Turn that thing off." The recording ended. I stared at the laptop Vivian had brought from her car. She recorded them? She recorded everyone after the missing money started. The next files were worse. Brooke admitting she used Grandma's card just until the wedding deposits cleared. My mother saying they could move the blame because I had no husband, no children, nothing to lose. My father saying, if Marissa signs, we control repayment, and Evelyn stops digging. I pressed both hands over my ears, but their voices were already inside me. Nothing to lose. They had looked at my life and seen an empty room they could set on fire. Vivian opened another folder. There's more. Account logs showed my mother's tablet accessing Grandma's bank from her own house. Security footage stills showed Brooke at the spa desk, sunglasses on her head signing Grandma's name. A jeweler's receipt had Brooke's phone number on it. Then there was a typed letter. Vivian said, "Read it when you can." I knew I couldn't wait. "My dearest Marissa, if you are reading this, then I failed to protect you in time. That will be my sorrow as long as God allows me breath. You were the only one who came when I needed help. You did not take from me, you gave. Your mother has always mistaken control for love. Your father has always mistaken reputation for character. Brooke is weak, and weak people can do cruel things when protected by stronger liars. I have instructed Ms. Cross to help you. Do not go home alone. Do not sign anything. Do not accept apologies without witnesses. There is money set aside for legal counsel and housing. It is yours to use for the fight, not for guilt. I love you. I believe you. I saved every receipt they thought was gone. Grandma E. By the time I finished, the coffee was cold. For 7 months, I had been starving on the belief that maybe, somewhere, one person still knew me. She had. She had known me the whole time. "What happens now?" I asked. Vivian zipped the case halfway closed. "Now we stop them before they know we found you." My phone buzzed. A new text from my father. "Your grandmother had a bad day. If you want peace before it's too late, come tomorrow. Alone." Vivian read it over my shoulder. Her expression changed. "He's accelerating," she said. "What does that mean?" "It means something scared him." Another message arrived, a photo. Grandma in a bed, eyes closed, my mother beside her smiling faintly at the camera. Under it, Dad had written, "She asked for you. Don't make me tell her you refused." My hand shook so badly, Vivian took the phone. "Marissa," she said, "listen carefully. Your grandmother has a court hearing in 2 days." "What hearing?" "Your parents petitioned for full conservatorship over her finances and medical decisions." I felt the room tilt. "If they get it," Vivian said, "they can bury the theft, block every visitor, and sell her house." "Why didn't you say that first?" "Because you needed to know you weren't crazy first." Outside, rain hammered the pavement. For the first time in months, I didn't feel hunted. I felt armed. Vivian handed me a second phone from the case. "Call the attorney listed as Nora. She's waiting." I looked down at my father's message one last time. Then I typed back, "I'll be there tomorrow." Vivian's eyes snapped to mine. I said, "Not alone." We did not go to my parents' house first. That was what the old Marissa would have done, run straight into the burning building because someone told me Grandma was inside. Vivian took me to a 24-hour copy shop. At 2:13 a.m., under fluorescent lights, we made 3 sets of everything: receipts, logs, photos, Grandma's letter, transcripts of the recordings. Vivian labeled each stack with a calmness that made me want to both hug her and scream. At 3:40, we met Nora Bell in the parking lot of a closed bank. She was small, silver-haired, and wearing red rain boots with a black suit. "Evelyn said you'd be stubborn," she told me. I almost cried again. Instead, I handed her the case. Nora skimmed the first folder and her mouth tightened. "Good, very good, awful, but good." That's a strange sentence. Law is full of those. By sunrise, I had a hotel room paid from Grandma's emergency fund, a clean shirt, and instructions not to answer my parents without recording. At 9 a.m., my father texted an address. Not their house. Grandma's house. Of course, They wanted me where the story began. Vivian drove. Nora followed in her own car. I sat in the passenger seat with the second phone recording in my jacket pocket and my real phone in my hand. My father was waiting on Grandma's porch like a man expecting a prodigal daughter. He even smiled. Then he saw Vivian step out behind me. The smile thinned. "Who is this?" "A witness," I said. My mother appeared in the doorway. "Marissa, this is family. Don't perform." Behind her, Brooke stood half hidden in the hall, pale and smaller than I remembered. "Where's Grandma?" I asked. "Resting," my father said. "You can see her after we talk." "No, I see her first." My mother laughed softly. "Still making demands." Nora walked up the path then, red boots splashing through a puddle. "Miss Langley is not making demands. She is asserting rights." My father's face hardened. "And you are?" "Evelyn Price's attorney." For the first time in my life, I saw my mother genuinely afraid, not embarrassed, afraid. We went inside. The house smelled wrong, not like cinnamon tea and furniture polish, like perfume, takeout, and strangers handling drawers. Grandma's sideboard was open. Her photo albums were stacked in boxes. A brass lamp had a tag on it. "For donation," my mother said quickly. I looked at the wall where Grandma kept framed pictures of all of us. Mine was gone. Nora noticed. "Mrs. Price's room?" she said. My father blocked the hallway. "Evelyn is fragile." Vivian lifted her phone. "Then you won't mind if we document her condition." "Get out," my mother snapped. Nora opened her briefcase. "If you obstruct access, I will contact the court investigator before the conservatorship hearing and request emergency intervention." My father looked at me then, and the old training in my body woke up. The need to apologize, to soften, to make his anger smaller by making myself smaller. I didn't. I held his stare. He stepped aside. Grandma was in her bedroom, propped against pillows, thinner than I had imagined. Her hair was white against the blue pillowcase. Her eyes opened when I whispered her name. "Grandma." Her mouth moved, struggling. I took her hand. She squeezed once, then again. I broke. "I got it," I whispered. "Vivian found me. I got the case." Tears slid from the corners of her eyes. My mother said from the doorway, "She doesn't understand what you're saying." Grandma's hand tightened hard enough to hurt. Nora leaned down. "Evelyn, it's Nora. We are filing opposition today. Blink if you still object to Denise and Grant controlling your affairs." Grandma blinked. Once, twice, deliberate. My father muttered, "This is grotesque." "No," Nora said. "What's grotesque is petitioning for control while evidence shows you concealed financial exploitation." The room went silent. Brooke made a tiny sound. My mother grabbed her arm. "Don't." But Brooke pulled away. "I didn't know they'd go this far," she whispered. My father turned. "Be quiet." Something in Brooke snapped, or maybe finally stood up. "You said Marissa would sign," she said, crying now. "You said it would just be within the family." My mother's face twisted. "Brooke." Vivian's recording phone was still raised. Nora looked almost pleased. I should have felt victory. Instead, I felt sick, because Brooke was not confessing out of love for me. She was confessing because the ground had shifted and she wanted to land on the safer side. My father reached for my arm. "Marissa, outside, now." I stepped back. "Don't touch me." His voice dropped. "After everything I did to protect you?" I laughed. This time, it didn't break. "You called every employer I had. You forced my hand." "No, you showed it." Nora handed him a packet. "You are being served notice of our emergency filing. Also preserve all communications regarding Ms. Langley. Deleting them now would be unwise." My mother looked at the papers like they were insects. From the bed, Grandma made a sound. We all turned. Her mouth worked slowly, painfully. "Ma, Riss, I'm here." Her eyes moved to my father, then my mother, then Brooke. One word came out, cracked but clear. "Thieves." My mother began sobbing. My father went white. and my phone, still in my hand, lit up with an incoming call from the police department. The call was from the officer who had taken my report months earlier. His voice was different this time. "Ms. Langley, we received documents from Attorney Bell. I need to ask if you're safe." I looked at my father standing in Grandma's bedroom, one hand still clenched around Nora's packet. "Yes," I said, "for the first time in a long time." He asked me not to leave town. Nora smiled faintly when I repeated that. They won't like what comes next. They didn't. By noon, the court had the emergency filing. By evening, Grandma had a temporary independent guardian and a nurse my mother had not chosen. By the next morning, my parents' conservatorship petition was frozen. Then the recording spread through official channels like fire through dry paper. Not online, not gossip, police, court, bank fraud investigators, my former employers. The clean kind of exposure. The kind with dates, signatures, and consequences. Brooke confessed first. Of course she did. She said it started with one wedding deposit on Grandma's card, then another. My mother found out and covered it because Brooke had more to lose. My father designed the repayment agreement because if I signed it, they could call the stolen money a family debt and keep everyone quiet. When asked why they contacted my employers, my father said, "I was trying to bring my daughter home." The investigator replied, "By making her homeless?" I wish I had been there to see his face. My mother tried to claim she was manipulated by him. Brooke tried to claim she was manipulated by both of them. My father tried to claim everyone misunderstood his intentions. Grandma's recordings understood perfectly. Charges came slowly, then all at once. Financial exploitation, identity theft, fraud, harassment tied to employment interference. My parents lost friends before they lost anything else, which hurt them more than court dates. Brooke's fiancé left. My aunt deleted the prayer post. No one apologized as loudly as they accused me. That was another lesson. People love public suspicion and private regret. Nora helped me send packets to every employer who had fired me after my parents' calls. 2 sent settlement offers. One manager cried on the phone and said she should have listened. I told her, "Yes, you should have." Then I hung up. I didn't forgive everyone. I didn't become lighter overnight. Some mornings I still woke up reaching for my keys, panicked that someone would knock on the window and tell me to move along. But I had a bed again. A real one. Grandma insisted the emergency fund cover a small apartment near her care home. I argued until she pointed one trembling finger at me and rasped, "Mine." So I took it. 6 months later, I had a job at a legal nonprofit helping elderly clients organize financial records before relatives could make them disappear. The first time I stamped copied and verified on a folder, I had to step into the bathroom and cry. Not because I was sad, because I knew exactly how much one saved receipt could weigh. Grandma improved enough to say short sentences. Sometimes I brought takeout to her room, and we watched old cooking shows while she criticized everyone's pie crust. One afternoon, Vivian visited with a new gray coat and a bag of oranges. Nora came too, red boots and all. The 4 of us sat around Grandma's little table, eating slices of pound cake from paper plates. Grandma reached for my hand. "Car?" she asked. I knew what she meant. I still had the Honda. I had cleaned it, vacuumed it, and folded a blanket in the trunk. Not because I planned to sleep there again, but because I refused to be ashamed of where I had survived. "It's outside," I said, "but I'm not living in it anymore." Grandma nodded. Then she touched the blue ceramic bowl on her windowsill. Vivian had found an artist who repaired broken pottery with gold seams. The bowl still had every crack, but now the cracks shone. Grandma lifted it carefully and placed it in my lap. "Proof," she whispered. I looked at the golden lines catching the late sun, at my grandmother's hand over mine, at the woman in the gray coat, smiling beside the window. For 7 months, my father told the world I had stolen. But in the end, all I had taken back was my name. If you've ever had to survive a lie long enough for the truth to find you, stay with me. Because stories like mine are why I'll never stop telling them. If this story stayed with you, tell me in the comments what you would have done in my place. And if you want more stories like this, please like the video and subscribe to the channel.